What's up, everybody? So I guess it's going to be a second video today. So my previous video on what would happen if the United States collapsed led to another question about the fact that the United States will never collapse, and why would I think that the United States could collapse. So it was interesting because I would assume by my previous statement of saying that the United States is committing financial disintegration would answer that question, but I'm going to answer it a little bit more in more detail. So we'll start with this. The citizens of the United States are probably not going to determine the collapse of the United States. They don't have the authority because all the little tyrannical monsters are in charge, and they're in charge. So they're going to tell us what's going to happen and when. Unfortunately, they can't tell anybody anything because they can't explain it. So the collapse of the federal government as we know it, that would then result in the state governments assuming their independent sovereignty back, as there's no coalition or confederate, as the definition terms itself, would be facilitated by a collapse of, facilitated by a collapse of the international commerce trades credit. So essentially, this is how it would go. The United States would continue to print money that they don't have. They are a bad investment because no one's going to loan them money, because their money, they have no ability to pay it back. Then this is on an international level. So their international credit would be downgraded, if not turned into subprime, which means that no one would lend them money. As soon as they have no credit internationally, there's really no ability to have exchange, because we exchange based on commerce, right? This is a commerce trade system. The world is running on a commerce system. Whether it's a good commerce system or a bad commerce system, it's still a commerce system. So as the credit gets downgraded and people stop lending money to the United States will have no alliances, because basically they'll have no international authority. In which case, if no one will trade with you, no one will accept your currency because it has no value, and your international trade credit is garbage, what value do you have on an international exchange? None. Which means that the countries of the world will no longer recognize the authority nor words of the United States. Now, that would be the digression of the United States itself. Then you would have the 50 states plus territories. And in that case, they would then approach independent states for secession and trade opportunities. So then you go to Texas and you're like, we want to get oil from you. Texas produces oil. The federal government has no authority because they don't have any more money, because they're not recognized for treaties, because no one really cares, because they don't exist anymore. They ignore them because they don't have anything to do. So basically what would happen then is you would have the states handling their own international treaties and conducting their own international trade. And you wouldn't need the United States federal government anymore. So if it was going to happen, that's probably the way it would go down. Or that's what the results would be. So the international, just like America was recognized by Holland by establishing its first embassy and getting the loan by John Adams, America will disintegrate, or the United States of America will disintegrate on an international scale by the countries no longer recognizing that the United States doesn't exist anymore. That's it. God bless.